Hi guys, and welcome to ESL and eyeshadow. So today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. So I know I've already got a video about how to apply foundation for older skin, but I thought we'd do an update on that because I have very spot prone skin. I have breakouts when I'm stressed, when I'm tired, and I've been quite stressed and tired recently. So as you can see, I've had some spots come up on my skin and they're quite red and they're quite bad, and I've got some on this side as well, and I've got a couple up here which because of my ring light you can't see. But these ones here especially you can see are quite red and inflamed. So I thought we'd do a walkthrough of how to use different colours to basically achieve a more flawless look when you've got to cover up discoloration. Now, I get some discoloration here from where I had acne when I was younger, which is why I'm always paranoid when I get spots come up here. I have got a video about taking care of spot prone or acne prone skin, and if you look up here now, there's a card that can lead you to that, and it will give you some tips on how to look after your skin to prevent as many breakouts as possible. But when you do get a breakout, what are you going to do? Well, we're going to go with some colours. So everything I'm using today is either by Technique or W7 or MUA Academy, and these are all really cheap brands. Everything I'm using today is under €5. So today we're going to start with, first of all, a primer. Because we're going to be using a lot of colours on our skin, to kind of give it some contour, draw attention away from the red area where the spots are, and use colour to make that discoloration go away, you really want to prime your skin first. This means that any of the colours that are slightly more greasy aren't going to go into your skin. The primer forms a nice base for you. And today I'm going to be using W7 Princess Primer. You Are the Princess Potion. Princess Potion. It's nice. It smells like candy. It's really, really nice, like kind of like bubblegum candy floss. You only need, it comes with like a little pipette, and you only need a little. So it's quite runny, so do it in bits. So a couple of drops onto your forehead first, rub it in a little so it doesn't drip everywhere across your face. Do the same on each area, just a little bit. Okay, maybe a little bit more. There we go. And then gently, in circular motions, rub the primer everywhere you are going to put any kind of colouring or foundation. Now, I'm using this one today just as a barrier, which is why I particularly like this one. It isn't intended to do anything in particular like colour correct or anything else. I'm going to be using actual colour correctors for that. So I like this one because it just creates that nice barrier and gets your skin nice and hydrated and ready for the products to go on. Now, a primer is really, really, really important if your skin is not very hydrated, especially in areas like here around the sides of your nose, and here where you may have some open pores or fine lines, and we want to hydrate these areas especially. So you might even want to press the primer gently into the areas where you have drier skin, as this will hydrate the area well and mean when you apply your colours they will sit nicely on your skin and they're not going to be an uneven colour. Okay, now I'm just going to pause the video and I'll be back in a couple of seconds, and the reason for that is with primer, like a moisturiser, you should leave a good 2 or 3 minutes in between putting your primer on and then starting the next bit of your makeup. So generally what I do in the morning when I get ready for work is I put my primer on, I moisturize as soon as I get out of the shower, locks in the hydration, I put my primer on, and then I go and make myself a coffee. So I'm going to go make myself a coffee, and when I get back I'll show you the next step. And I'm back, and I have my mocha frappuccino. I swear, apart from makeup, I'm addicted to coffee right now. So, my primer has had time to sink in. As you can see, my face isn't as shiny as it was when the primer first went in. I've also washed my hands, so I've got no primer left on my skin, on my hands. So when I go to put my colours on now, it will be fine. My skin feels a little tacky, but I think that's just this brand of primer. But it feels hydrated, which is what's important. If you're worried if it feels a little tacky still, give it another minute or so. But I'm fine with it as it is right now. I think it's ready for the first round of makeup to go on. So, many makeup artists and many videos on YouTube are going to tell you to use proper brushes to do this next part. I'm not. Use your fingers. As long as they're clean, it's fine. And I've tried using brushes, and I find I get a more even application just by using my fingers. I can control where the colour goes better, and I don't have to clean my brushes afterwards. I just have to wash my hands, and I would wash my hands quite regularly at the moment anyway, so fingers it is. So I'm going to start by using Pro Base by Makeup Artist Academy, and this is in the green colour. Difficult to show you with the ring light because it kind of reflects, but yeah, this is green, I promise. Okay, so Makeup Academy Green Pro Base. I'm just going to put a little on my finger, so rub around. Now this is to primarily get rid of these colours on any redness. This is basically going to cover up your spots or anywhere else you've got anything red. So here I'm just going to pop some on there, and straight away you'll see that they've gone. You can't really see them now. We're going to blend in a minute, but I'm going to come back to it. So I also get some redness here, so I'm just going to pop some on here, and this I'm going to blend in straight away. And this will always go on before your foundation or before any concealer or BB cream that you're going to put on. This is the colour correcting, so that when the foundation or BB cream goes onto your face, it's going onto an even, non-discoloured surface. Again, I get some here. And who doesn't get it under their nose? So already my skin is looking a lot more even in tone. My discoloration is going. I've got some spots here as well, so I'm just going to cover those up. Maybe not getting it on my arm in the way. And a little here, because I've had acne here recently. So this area is slightly discoloured, and again the same on this side here. Okay, now I get a lot of discoloration on the top part of my skin here from where I had acne previously. So I'm going to concentrate quite a lot of the green here, as this will even out the colours before I put on my foundation. Okay, now I'm going to go back to where I've got the most problems, which is here. And what I'm going to do is, rather than, as you saw before, sort of just blending everything in, I'm just going to blend around the outside. So the green stays over the spots. So you can't see where the green stops and starts. We're blending that in, but the colour itself stays over the redness, and that really brings the colour down. So those bright red spots that you saw are completely gone. I mean, there are still lumps, but you can't see them, they're not as noticeable. And any left over, I'm just going to pop here, because again, who doesn't get red bit on their chin as we're getting older? Okay. So now I'm happy that that's colour corrected there. I'm just going to wipe my hands down with a wet wipe. And then we're going to move on to a second Pro Base by Makeup Academy. And this one is yellow. It's really difficult. There, haha, there you go, now you can see it. This one is yellow. And a yellow base is to correct any dark circles you might have. Now, I didn't sleep particularly well last night, so I've got quite dark circles around my eyes. So I'm going to pop it here, and I'm going to pop it here. You're going to put more on top than you do under, because, well, we're not getting any younger, ladies, and the fine lines, this stuff is going to sit in the fine lines if you put too much under your eye, and you don't want that. You just want the dark circles to go before you put the actual colour on. So we're not going to take this too high, and we're just going to blend it in very gently. Remember, you shouldn't use any motion around your eye that's pulling at the eye. So you're really just tapping this in until it's blended, because any kind of motion that pulls at the eye is just going to make those fine lines worse. So as you can see now, the colour has been corrected around my eyes, and so now any dark circles I had are gone. And I'm just going to quickly do the other eye. Remember, tap, tap, tap underneath. Not going to do anything that pulls at the under eye. We've already lost enough elasticity. We don't want to lose any more. I don't know if you've noticed, but since my first videos a few months ago, I've actually lost about 6 kilograms in weight. So my face has slimmed down quite a lot. And I'm really happy about that. Don't get me wrong. I am happy that my diet is working. However, I am a little bit annoyed because I'm developing wrinkles faster than I had before, because obviously before my skin had a layer of fat under it on my face, and that was puffing out my wrinkles, and now it's not. So yeah, diet good, wrinkles not. I don't like them, I'm not used to them. Okay, so that is my skin colour corrected. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a Conceal and Define, and this is by Revolution, and again it's really cheap, so sorry, allergies. It's really cheap. I think this was like $2.99 maybe. I'll link everything in the description box below. They are affiliate links, but obviously they're products I use and I believe in. I use these every day. So yeah, anyway, all really cheap, beauty on a budget. I'm just going to take off the majority of the concealer that's on here, because the applicator does put quite a lot on, and you don't need that much. And what I'm going to do is just dab over the spot area where I had the most redness. See, by this point the green colour correction that I put on has sunk into my skin and the primer and done its job. So now, before I apply my foundation, I'm just going to do the same with a concealer. And again, just tap in around the outside just to make that colour, or the colour of the spots rather, as neutral as possible. I don't want them to be seen when I go out. I know a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't care about spots and things like that, but if you've ever had acne, you know the kind of anxiety it can give you if you start getting bright spots again, and it's just not a pleasant experience, and it brings back all the flooding memories of when my face was covered with it. So I don't want people seeing this when I go out. It makes me feel like people are staring, and that's never a nice feeling. So now we are going to move on to our foundation. So I'm just putting some water very, very carefully, because this bottle is fuller than I would have liked. I'm just putting some water into a cap, because obviously we have a makeup sponge, and a makeup sponge is a sponge. It absorbs what you're putting in. Now, some people use a setting spray to spray on the end. I prefer using a little dab of water because I find it more hydrating. So just put the cap, take the cap of water, put the end of your sponge into the water. Make sure it's not too damp, so you may want to get a tissue and just dab off the excess. I can do words. Okay, so today, because I'm going out later this evening and I'm recording this video quite early, it's only 10 o'clock here, I'm going to use Revlon Colour Stay. Again, it's a cheap foundation. I think this one's about 5 or 6 maybe euros. But I'm just going to pop some on the back of my hand. And then I'm just going to dab it in little spots where I want it. And then I'm going to leave a little on the back of my hand, because we'll come back to that in a moment. So now I've got my damp sponge, and because I want this to last all day, I'm just going to tap this into my skin with the damp sponge. So this is going to hydrate your skin, so furthermore hydration like the primer. And it will also help, because you're tapping it into your skin, you're going to give it a longer lasting effect. If you rub it into your skin, it's not going to last as long. And one of the best things about using the tapping method to put it into your skin is that with the hydration from the water, it's actually going to be easier to take off as well. You aren't going to need to pull at your skin to get all of these colours out of your skin afterwards. The water will be locked in there with it as well. So remember, when you're going up to your eye, tap, 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 but very gently. Okay, this is the bit that is fun. Tap, 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 tap. You want to make sure you go under your jawline as well. Under this bit here. I'm also going to contour here, because as I said, I've been dieting, so I've lost some weight, and now my double chin can be hidden with some contouring, so I'll be showing you how to do that as well. Notice that I'm not tapping where the spots are on the side of my face, and I will show you why in a second. Okay, I'm just going to keep tapping away. Okay, so I've done all the tapping, everything's in. It's sitting nicely on my skin because of the primer, so it's not going to be going into your pores too much, even with all this pressing and tapping, because the primer is there to act as a barrier towards that. And I'll come in close so you can see, but the discoloration I have here is completely covered and you can't see it at all. And my dark circles are also gone because of the green and the yellow that we put on, the green here and the yellow here. So now we're going to come to this area where the spots are. So I'm going to take the last of the foundation that I left on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to put it directly over where the spots were, and now very gently tap over that area, pressing in, because this is where I want the most coverage. So again, blend around the outside. Okay, so now that is your foundation more or less done. I'm just going to take a little round beauty buffer, and I'm just going to quickly buff the areas where you can see it, and it's probably difficult for you guys to see at home because of the lighting, but you'll know at home if it's sitting anywhere too heavily on your skin, and you can just use one of these to take it down. So I recommend doing that in any areas where you get fine lines. So I'm doing the middle of my forehead because I get fine lines there, and this will mean that as your foundation sits on your skin, it won't go into the fine lines, and you'll get those little white creases of foundation that you get sometimes. I'm also going to blend here, and I'm just doing it in little tiny circular motions. So it's not blending as buffing so much. Imagine like you're washing your car and you've done all the car parts, and then you put the wax on at the end, and you have to buff the wax to make it shiny. Well, think of it like that, but the opposite. We're trying not to make it shiny. We're trying to make it sit nicely so it doesn't look too thick anywhere, because we want it for day wear and we want it blended nicely so there are no lines under. Okay, so that's good. I'm all done now on my face. Now I'm just going to go back to the concealer that I used previously, and this time I'm not going to take off as much as I did before, so I'm going to leave a little extra, and I'm just going to go back to that spot area and just put a last dab of concealer on there and gently pat it in with my finger. And if you notice, I'm blending around the outside, I'm not touching the concealer that's on the spots. So now they're perfectly gone. So now this is where we can do some contouring. So since I've lost some weight, I've got some cheekbones back. So I'm going to be using this Technic Colour Fix Cream Foundation and Contour Palette. So basically when you want to contour, it's after your foundation but before you put on any kind of setting powder. So when you contour, you should be not using the really dark colour, because obviously I'm quite pale. So I'm going to be using this one here, which is more of a rose colour. Your contouring should be darker than your actual skin tone, but not so dark that you look like you've just got streaks of a really dark colour next to you. So basically for contouring, if you want to highlight your cheekbones and give yourself a more sucked in look here, you're going to make that face, you know, the one where you're always told to suck your cheekbones in and then put your blusher on top. Don't do that. Suck your cheekbones in, and then follow the line of where you've sucked in with the darker colour. I'm just going to take some more. very difficult, I think, for you guys to see, but it is actually quite dark. Oh, there you go, you can see it better now. So just wipe that into your skin, and this obviously I am using a brush for, because it's more precise. And then just blend it a little because you don't want any lines to come up. Now I'm just going to quickly do the same on the other side. And as you should be able to see already, it's given me lines down the side of my cheek, which is going to make my face slimmer. Now I would recommend, whenever you're doing or trying contouring, have a look on Google, Google something like whatever your face shape is, contouring. I have a round face, so the way I contour may be different to you. It will be the same principle. If you want to slim down your face, you're going to do what I'm doing now. But for different face shapes, it might be better to put it in different places. So always make sure you're checking that your face shape is the one you're contouring for, because if you're contouring for my face shape and you don't have my face shape, that's going to be an issue later. You're not going to get the same effects. So I'm contoured now on both sides. Now I'm going to clean this brush off, and I'm going to go back to my Technique palette, and I'm going to take this really white one here, the really, really, really light one. This is lighter than my actual skin tone. And then we're going to take this one and we're going to put this above the darker line. And then this will really highlight the darker line of contour that we put on. Okay, so once that's on, again, you really should be using a brush, but I'm just going to quickly blend it in with my fingers because it's much, much easier. And already my face is more, well, slim. It's slimmer. Okay, and then last of all, with that with that same lighter shade, you're just going to put some down the middle of your nose, because this will slim your nose down, and draw the attention to the center of your face, which again is going to slim down your whole face. Okay. Now, the last thing that we're going to do, well, sorry, second to last thing that we're going to do is we're going to use some setting spray. So here I've got Technique Dewy Setting Spray, and this is $1.99 for a bottle, and it's fantastic. It means your foundation is going to stay where it is all day. It's not going to go anywhere. It doesn't matter how much you sweat. It's just going to stay there. So basically hold it about 6 to 12 inches from your face. And spray. Keep your mouth shut as long as possible because it's still in the air and it tastes disgusting. So again, you should, before you do the last step, you should let this set for about a minute or two. So I'm going to go drink some coffee, stretch my legs, wash my hands, and I'll be back in a second to show you the last step. Okay, so I'm going to take my makeup towel now because obviously I'm wearing black, and the last step of this is some loose powder to set. I wouldn't usually use loose powder because loose powder is not great when you've got older skin. It can sit in your fine lines, but where I've got spots at the moment, I want to set what I've done on my skin so far, and I need to use a setting powder for that. So I'm using W7 Banana Dreams. Banana Dreams is a lovely powder. It's got a slightly yellowish tinge to it, so it means any of those dark patches, especially under your eyes, is just not going to be there. So I'm just going to quickly put a little on my forehead. This is why I had to do my eyebrows now. And the reason I'm putting it everywhere, not just over where my spots were, is because I want an even skin tone. And this is going to help to set the contouring that we did. And basically everything else that we did, including the setting spray. So when you want to put a little under your eyes, what you need to do is blow off the excess, look up, so you're stretching your under eye as much as possible, and just put it under the eye in a quick sweeping motion. You don't want to put too much there because you don't want it going into your lines. So literally as little as possible. When it gets to the side where you've got the biggest problem, very, very lightly dust over where the problem is. Under your chin as well, because obviously we want to set where we put that blending. Now that will set and stay all day. And I'm just going to put a little extra where I had the breakout, and that's all the loose powder you need. Obviously if you're wearing black, or you haven't got dressed, or you've got dressed already before you put your makeup on, use one of these, because otherwise you will get powder everywhere. I'm just going to use the last of that because it feels nice. And this one smells nice. It actually does smell a little bit like bananas as well. And again, it's really cheap. I think it's like $2.99. And it does its job. You'll stay mattified all day thanks to the setting spray. My hair is such a mess today. Okay, and then if you want, just to capitalize on the contouring, again, this is by Makeup Academy, MUA, and it's Pro Base set powder, and it's just like a blush, really. So I'm just taking the most off, and I'm just going to quickly highlight where I put the contouring, the darker contouring earlier, and then blend in quickly. And if you feel it's too dark, which I do, I'm just going to take the brush we used for the banana blending, the loose powder, banana loose powder, and just blend it in that little bit. But there, as you can see, contoured, clear, flawless makeup to go for the day, and no more spots. So, I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. If you have, please do give a like and subscribe, and follow, click the notifications so that you get notified of new videos. I do a beauty one every Friday and English lessons every Tuesday. And if you've got anything you'd like to see me try, different products, eyeshadows especially, if there's any particular colours you have that you'd like me to try out for you, hit the comments below, let me know what it is, and I'll make a video for you. Okay, so everybody stay safe, take care, and bye bye.